Listen, right now is the best time to pick up Pokemon cards that we have seen in months. The summer slump is in full effect, prices have come down a ton, but the 30th anniversary is right around the corner, and I'm thinking that maybe these prices aren't going to last forever. So today, we're going to be looking at some awesome cards that I think, if you want them, right now is the time to pull the trigger. So let's not waste any time, and let's get right into it. All right, first card on the docket today is the Zapdos EX Special Illustration Rare from Scarlet and Violet 151. This card is my favorite special illustration rare in the set. I think this card is a phenomenal artwork. You've got a lot of colors. You've got 3 Pokemon, and they're also the Generation 1 legendary birds. Like, there is so much going for this card. But going back to the set it's in, Scarlet and Violet 151 is one of the best sets out there. It is one of the most beloved sets by collectors. It's generational, right? It brought so many people back to the hobby. It was so much fun to open, and it's out of print. So, you know, the cards in that are rarer, and everything that's in a strong set is always going to do a lot better. It's always going to be more collectible, and it's going to have a higher rarity, and it's going to be more premium. So speaking of rarity and premium, looking at the 151 SIR pull rates, they were 1 in 32 packs, which is crazy to think of given where we're at now with some of these sets in the late Scarlet Violet and Mega Evolution era. That seems like the easiest thing ever. And there were only 7 total special illustration rares in 151. So really, pulling one specific special illustration rare was not as difficult as it is in some other sets, meaning that there's probably a few more of this card floating around out there. The illustrator on this card is Shiburengaru. Apologies if I completely butcher that pronunciation, but I want to include the illustrators on these little analysis breakdowns because I think it's a great way to discover other cards that you might like out there. So if you see this card and you think the artwork's awesome, go check them out and see if there's anything else you like out there. And, you know, I want to be more familiar with the different artists out there as well. So maybe this is a little self-serving too. But, you know, it's another data point, and there's also collectability around illustrators, right? People love Agawa, and Agawa cards are going to have a little more demand. And I think that's just something to factor in if you're looking at purchasing a chase card, because it is a significant financial investment. You got to spend a good amount of money on some of these. So I think it's good to know the details. But looking at the price, which is what I'm sure everyone is here for, the current price of this card is $92. The 1-year high is 142, which was earlier this year, around February, March, when everything went parabolic for 151. And the 1-year low was actually right before that. Last winter, when there was a bit of a market slump, a crash correction, whatever you want to call it, this was down to $64. So what I like about the price on this is that it went back down under $100. I thought when everything went crazy with 151 that this was not going to come back down under 100. I thought that it was there to stay. Maybe it would get to 120. I thought the prices would correct a little bit, but I didn't think this would come back down as much as it has. So looking at the grading comps for Gem Mint 10s, PSA 10 comes in at 415, which is basically a 4 times multiplier in a 10. CGC's coming in at 170. I'm using just Gem Mint, not Pristine, so that's why you might see some different values than what you'd expect. BGS 9.5 for that Gem Mint comes in at 152, and then a Tag 10 at 475. Now, Tag is not selling as frequently, so the last sales I saw were, I think, August and late July, which, you know, we had started to crash a little bit at that point, so maybe it's just that people were paying more because they aren't coming to the market as much. But the reason the multiplier is so good here is that this card's only got a 28.7% gem rate. If you opened any Scarlet and Violet or you've bought any of the cards, you'll know not the best print quality from Pokemon. They've had better. So tough to grade on these a little bit. But all things considered, yeah, I would say this is a great buy right now. All right, the next card in our lineup is the Charizard EX Special Illustration Rare from Obsidian Flames. And man, I remember people hating on this when it first came out. I always thought it was an awesome artwork, so I didn't get it, but Obsidian Flames, definitely not the most popular set. I would say it was medium popularity at this point, just because it does have a Charizard featured in it heavily. There's a gold card, a full art, a special illustration rare, you name it, you got it when it comes to Zard. The pull rates in Obsidian Flames were Rare, oh man, they were great. 1 in 31 packs and only 6 total SIRs. It was so easy to pull SIRs in this set. I was able to pull the entire set just opening booster boxes. Oh man, those were the days. I missed those so much. It was so much fun. $90 boxes. I mean, it still wasn't great idea financially, but what a great time. But yeah, some of the easiest pull rates out there, even easier than 151. Our illustrator on this is Akira Igawa, who I just mentioned on Zapdos as an example of a really prominent illustrator who might drive up the value of a card just because their name is attached to it and it is one of their works. So the current price is 108. 1 year high is 140, 1 year low is 59. So sorta in the middle of the two. I would say that right now this is a good buy because you got to think Obsidian Flames is out of print. That set's 3 years old. I know there's probably a lot out there because this was so easy to pull, but incredible illustrator. I think this artwork's going to get a lot more love as time goes on. And you know, 30th is coming up. Like, things are going to pump up again. And I wouldn't be surprised if a Charizard special illustration rare is one of the things that does get pumped up with that. Moving on to our Gem Mint 10 comps, PSA 10 coming in at 757. All right, that is about 7.5 times, 7 to 7.5 times what the raw cost is, because again, bad print quality at this time with Pokemon, 22.5% gem rate, so pretty tough to get in a 10, and that premium is high because of it. CGC 10s are coming in at 350, and you have to think that's still $250. That's kind of how hard it is to grade this. A lot of cards that are easier to grade and have a higher gem rate, their CGC 10 premium almost is like barely above raw sometimes. So with this being 2.5, 3.5 times, it's a tough card to grade. So definitely if you find a clean copy, it's worth giving that a go. The BGS 9.5 also probably around 350, and then a tag 10 at 700. So knowing all of that, yeah, probably a pretty good buy right now. I don't think you can do bad making this purchase. All right, next card is the Mega Greninja EX Special Illustration Rare from Chaos Rising. Very new card, only been out for 4 months maybe. Greninja's a very popular Pokemon, and honestly, I'm surprised this has fallen as much as it has since its release. And I think a lot of people in the community are probably a little surprised as well. And hey, I'm here for it. I think these cards should be this price at this point in time in their life cycle. They should not be thousands and thousands of dollars. Looking at the Chaos Rising SIR pull rates, you're looking at 1 in 60 packs. So, you know, as I was saying earlier, tougher pull rates at end of Scarlet and Violet, early Mega Evolution. The latest sets that we've gotten have eased up a little bit, which has been really nice. Those sets have been a lot of fun to open. And there's only 6 total SIRs in Chaos. So you're looking at probably medium difficulty pull rates. Illustrator on this one is Susumu Maeda, and they also did the Lillie's Clefairy EX from Journey Together, which I love that card. So they've made some really good cards. If you like color, they know how to make it pop on those artworks. Going into the price, currently 190. 1 year high, which was basically at the beginning of release, was like 594, I think. The graph here looks like 450, depending. I think I might have copied that from a different time frame, but the 1 year low is 190. That's where we're at right now. We are at the 1 year low. Obviously, 1 year low doesn't mean the same when the set hasn't been out a year, but we are at the all-time low for this card, and that is partially because it's a newer card from a newer set. It's actively being pulled and we're in a summer slump. That's expected. However, based on how much everything else has been, especially special illustration rares, I'm surprised this came down. It's the main chase of the set, and Greninja is a very popular Pokemon. So I think this is a really good buy right now. If you look at the Gem Mint 10 comps, you know, you got 550 and a PSA 10. One thing there is that more of these PSA 10s, CGC, any of these are going to start hitting the market really soon, right? That pop report is going to continue to rise. The population's going to shoot up because this is a newer card. So we're going to see more of those. But right now, if you were able to get something in, or you've already sent it and you've got it coming back, you're looking at a good premium, a couple hundreds of dollars. So pretty good there. CGC 10 at 340, BGS 9.5 at 388, and then a tag 10 at 600. Now, with that increased population of 10s that we're going to be seeing, you also have to take into account this is a very easy gem rate. It's like 75% of these are getting 10s with PSA. And I use PSA gem rate because it's easily available and they grade so much more. But 75% getting 10s, we're going to see a lot of 10s hit the market here in the next couple months to a year, potentially, especially as grading picks back up and people are getting things back. So keep that in mind. Maybe not the strongest grading play, given the long turnaround times, but if you got something coming back, you might be looking at a couple $100s here right now if you decide to sell it. So definitely some volatility still maybe with this card because it is a little bit early in the life cycle, but at the end of the day, it's a chase card, special illustration rare, popular Pokemon. I don't think it's going to go that much lower. I think this is probably a pretty good buy right now. All right, and I just mentioned this because the illustrator is the same. So we're going to move on to this card, the Lillie's Clefairy EX from Journey Together, the special illustration rare. I love this card. I think this is a great buy right now. So if you look at Journey Together, it was, people really panned it when it first came out. It wasn't well liked at all. But, as things have boomed and people are always trying to find the sleeper, people are saying like, maybe this is underrated. I always really liked Journey Together. I thought it was a really fun set. I thought the partner cards were very cool. So I always thought it was going to do well. But again, there's some heavy sets out there. So I don't know how this really lines up, maybe compared to some of the sets we've gotten, like Ascended Heroes, Destined Rivals, things that kind of dominate the Pokemon news cycle. But looking at the pull rates for Journey Together, 1 in 86 packs. Much tougher than some of the sets we looked at earlier. This was around the time Pokemon really turned up how difficult the pull rates were going to be on special illustration rares. So this was definitely on the tougher end of the spectrum to pull. Again, there were only 6 in Journey Together, so you didn't have many to pull, but it was tough to get one to begin with. The illustrator on this, Susumu Maeda, again, they did that Greninja, but they also did the Deerling and Sawsbuck IR combo from Temporal Forces, which is a great combo of illustration rares. So like I said, colors, they do it well. Current price on this card, $104. I did not think this card would ever climb so low. So 1 year high was 165 and 1 year low is basic 103, which is basically now. It is pretty much at its 1 year low. I think this is a phenomenal pickup right now. You just got to think Lillie's a really well-liked character. Clefairy Gen 1 Pokemon, partner Pokemon. This was the first set that brought them back. This thing has dropped a lot. It was always kind of around like 120 to 160, I want to say. And the fact that it has almost gotten into the 90s is crazy to me because this really is the chase out of Journey Together. And looking at the Gem Mint 10 comps, PSA 10 goes for $390, CGC 10 $192, BGS 9.5 $173, and then a Tag 10 $348. You're getting at least probably 4 times back on this because it's a 30% gem rate. I've seen a lot of this card. I've tried to grade a lot. It's tough. A lot of them have whitening. Centering is not great necessarily all of the time. So there's a lot going against it when it comes to grading. If you find a clean copy, you're looking at a potential 4-time premium if you're able to get that 10. But yeah, everything about this, I love this card right now. I think this is such a good buy. I would say this is probably top 2 buy in the entire video. Moving on, we are on Zoroark EX from Ascended Heroes. So in my last video where we looked at some cards, we actually looked at Zoroark from Journey Together. And I said that was probably a really good card to pick up right now. We are looking at the newest special illustration rare for Zoroark from Ascended Heroes. Again, this kind of lines up with the Zapdos from earlier generational set. Everything is going to do well in that set, especially when maybe it's not the flagship Pokemon, but it's still a very well-liked Pokemon with an incredible artwork. The Ascended Heroes special illustration pull rates are 1 in 70 packs, and there are 22 total. So it's already hard to pull an SIR in general. Pulling a specific SIR, nightmare scenario. Very hard to do. So you have to think, how many of these are going to hit the market if we're looking at 1 in 70 and there's 22 across that? It's going to be a little more limited than some of the other special illustration rares that we've seen in today's video. The illustrator Raita Kazama, they also did the Mega Gardevoir EX from Mega Evolution base set, which is my favorite artwork in the Mega era by far, and that is probably why I am so high on this card, because it's that same style, and it's incredible. It is an incredible artwork. This person's got some bangers out. I can't wait to see what other work they end up doing, because so far, I know they're a little newer, it appears. What they've done is incredible with these two cards. So going to pricing, current price is $149, 1 year high of $198, and a 1 year low of $143. So we're kind of at the 1 year low almost. It's starting to trickle back up, because I did not think this card would stay at that price for a while. Ascended Heroes is just a hard set to get at MSRP, hard set to get in stores. It is, I haven't seen a set that's been as in demand as Ascended Heroes, maybe since, I don't know, ever, honestly. It is crazy out there with Ascended Heroes, and I think because of that, every popular Pokemon with a special illustration rare is going to do really well. And as we can see, April, we kind of hit the all-time high for this. We sort of hit that again in June, and then it's just come down. It has just come down. I don't think this thing's ever going to be a double-digit card. I think this has probably got a floor of like 125, maybe, if it continues to go down. But 30th around the corner, I don't know. I feel like this card could get pumped easily. But moving on to the Gem Mint 10 comps, we've got PSA 10s at 332, CGC 10s at 200, 9.5s from BGS at 178, and then Tag 10s at 400. 66% gem rate on this. Like, this is an easy card to get into 10. I've actually got one myself. These are all really clean. The print quality is really good, I think, on these Mega Evolution era cards. So the premium's not super high. I would expect those to go down a little bit as well. But all in all, I still think this is a good buy right now. All right, now we had to mention something from Destined Rivals in this presentation, but we've got Cynthia's Garchomp EX, special illustration rare. This thing is an insane artwork. It is extremely good in my opinion. It really embodies the difficulty of the Elite Four champion battle that you have against Cynthia in Gen 4 games, because Garchomp is just an absolute menace, absolutely destroys your team. It's one of the most frustrating moments that I've ever had in playing the Pokemon games. So I think that this card does a great job with that. 10 out of 10 artwork. Now, moving on to the pull rates, 1 in 94 for Destined Rivals. That is extremely tough, and you've got 11 total SIRs. I mean, that's very high difficulty to begin with, just to pull one SIR, let alone pulling a specific one. Listen, good luck. It's going to be very difficult. Those pull rates are terrible, and that's why I have not opened a ton of Destined Rivals in my time. The illustrator is Higo Kim. They're a newer artist, and they did that Manectric IR from Pitch Black as well. So they're getting started, and, you know, they really knocked it out of the park on this first special illustration rare. Just a crazy way to make your entrance on the hobby. Current price for this is $237, down about $60 from the 1 year high of $292, and about $50 higher than the 1 year low of $192. So sort of in the middle of those two. We can see last fall, Destined Rivals was off the charts. It was doing so well. Everything was really high on that set, and this was no difference. This thing was at $200 something. The chart here I've got looks like I've a different price than what I've got on the PowerPoint. So administrative clerical error on my part. I'll have to see what happened there. But either way, I think this was around high 200s, low 300s. And then, man, Christmas slump, this thing dropped down to like under $200, which I was shocked. I never thought it would drop under 200. The reason I only have this as a good buy currently is because I do think there is some room for this to drop a little bit lower. I think if you bought it right now, you wouldn't regret it. But I do think you might be able to wait just a tiny bit longer with the reprints from Destined Rivals. I think we're going to see this go down a little bit more. At the end of the graph, it does look like it's starting to trickle back up, but I just don't see that sustaining. you know, this card, we're going to see more of this hit the market. We're going to see more of this hit grading if we're getting a lot from this reprint. So we'll see there. I'd keep an eye out, but if you really want it, now's definitely not a bad time to get it. If anything, it is still a good time to get it. Moving on to the grading comps, you know, PSA 10 goes for 480, CGC 10, 327, BGS 9.5, 295, Tag 10, 490. So this was around that time that print quality improved with late Scarlet Violet. So we do see a 60% gem rate there, which is why that grading premium isn't as high as some of the other cards we've talked about today. But all in all, good buy. If you want this card, go get it. You're not going to regret it. Sticking with Destined Rivals, probably one of my favorite cards from Destined Rivals, Ethan's Adventure, the special illustration rare. I love Gen 2 and Gen 3, so this card really hits the nostalgia factor for me. But again, same thing, Destined Rivals, extremely popular set. It's got a recent reprint, so that's going to push things down a little bit. The pull rates, very tough. 1 in 94, 11 total SIRs. You're not going to pull a lot of them. Pulling Ethan's Adventure specifically, you're going to have a tough time doing that. The illustrator on this is Korea, and they also made the Sleepy Espeon from Prismatic, which common card, so very good artwork, easy to get. And you can also get those cool Master Ball and Pokeball reverses. I know people hate them. I like them. I like the texture. Sue me. But current price on this, $36. So 1 year high was 57 again around fall when everything was going crazy for Destined Rivals. Right now we're at the 1 year low. We've hit it. It happened earlier this year and it's happened again. We're basically at that point. This is a great buy. This card is so good. You get 3 Pokemon in it. You get the main character from a staple game. Like Gold and Silver are staple games, you know, those Gen 2 games, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, the remakes are incredible. If you haven't played them, I highly recommend it. I played Heart Gold earlier this year and man, it just hit me there. It just hit me there. And then the grading premiums on these. You're looking at 4.5 times, 5 times multiplier if you get this into 10, 152 with PSA, 86 for CGC, 91 for BGS, 138 for tag, 42% gem rate. Not the worst, not the best. Fairly easy to grade in my opinion. I just think everything about this is a great buy. You know, you're not spending a ton of money either. You're getting an awesome card. It's only $36, which comparatively to some other cards that we've talked about today, obviously much cheaper. I just think right now is a great time to get this card. It makes a great binder piece. Yeah, I love this one. All right, our last card of the day, Pikachu EX from Surging Sparks. The special illustration rare that kind of kicked off an absolute boom in the hobby. I mean, Surging Sparks, when that set came out, it just seemed like everything started to get insane and really hasn't slowed down since then. So, you know, that's the set that started the boom. I think it's moderately popular now, I would say. I wouldn't say people are like going out of their way to get Surging Sparks, but moderate popularity now. And I think that it's going to go down as a very well-known set because of kind of the impact that it had on the hobby. So looking at the pull rates on that, you know, 1 in 87, again, that was around the time that these pull rates got tough, and there are 11 total special illustration rares in there. So this kind of lines up with Destined Rivals, Journey Together, just, you know, very high difficulty. You know, you're not going to pull this card easily. There's going to be less of them out there. The illustrator on this is Ghidorah. They also made the Lost Origin Trainer Gallery Charizard, which I love that card. That was one of the first Charizards that I pulled getting back into the hobby, so that one's always going to be special to me. Love their work. I think they've got a couple bangers out there. Looking at the price, we are at $290 right now. 1 year high is $385 and the 1 year low, $250. So I'm putting that at, I'm smacking that with a great buy right now. This is a great buy. If you want this card, now's the time to get it. Looking at the Gem Mint 10 comps, you know, you've got PSA 10, 927, almost 4 figures. CGC 10 coming in at 371, BGS 9.5, 435, and a Tag 10 at 900. This is only a 34% gem rate, not the best print quality. This was really right before they turned up the dial on print quality in Scarlet and Violet. So this was one of the last sets that I think had a little tougher print run. And that's why you see those Gem Mint 10 multipliers being 3 times. So with that current price of $290, we're definitely closer to the 1-year low than we are the 1-year high, which is a great indicator. I love seeing this across a lot of cards. I love seeing things finally get a little more affordable. This is obviously still $290, but compared to $385, I mean, that's a 25% decrease, and I love to see things coming down that direction, but you got to be careful because things go up in an instant sometimes in this hobby, and this is one of those things that I just think with the 30th right around the corner, this is going to shoot up. It's hard to think that Pikachu cards aren't going to go crazy and just get pumped because it's Pikachu and it's the 30th anniversary. So if you want this card, hey, I think buy it now. I think you'll be happy you did, and I don't think it's going to drop much further at all. I think really the only chance of a price change is upward, and I don't know if it'll come down past that. So you want it, I say go for it. Go ahead and rip it. But that is it, everybody. That was the full list. Man, we really got into it. But if you liked this comment, please leave a like on this video and leave a comment. Are you picking up any of these cards? Which one was your favorite? I got more content like this. I'm always looking at the market. We're always doing grading reveals. So if you like stuff like that, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this channel to maybe 1,000 subscribers at some point. I'm happy with the trajectory we're going and would love to have you along the way. But that does it. I'm going to go eat some dinner and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Peace.